Not every harmful relationship begins with shouting, infidelity, or obvious insults. Some relationships drain a person in much quieter ways, so quietly, in fact, that you may not realize what's happening until much later. You may find yourself giving more love, more attention, and making more sacrifices, yet somehow you feel increasingly exhausted, less happy, and more doubtful of yourself. In psychology, this is often referred to as emotional exhaustion or emotional depletion, a state in which a relationship consumes more of your emotional energy than it gives back in support, comfort, and security. It's important to clarify one thing. A single sign does not necessarily mean a woman is emotionally draining you. Everyone goes through stressful periods that can affect their behavior. What matters is whether these behaviors become a consistent and recurring pattern over time. Here are 8 signs that psychologists commonly associate with emotional exhaustion in relationships. 1. She always makes you feel like you're the one at fault. No matter what you do, it never seems to be enough. If you buy her a gift, she wishes it had been better. If you make time for her, she says it isn't enough. If you apologize, she quickly finds something else to criticize. Over time, you begin to believe that you're always the problem, that no matter how hard you try, you'll never be able to make her happy. Psychologists suggest that constant blame can gradually lower self-esteem and increase feelings of guilt, especially when the other person never acknowledges their own mistakes. 2. She never takes responsibility for her mistakes. Every healthy relationship requires both partners to take responsibility for their actions. But a woman who emotionally drains her partner may always have an excuse for her own behavior while placing all the blame on him. Even when she's clearly in the wrong, she may redirect the conversation until you end up apologizing instead. This pattern makes genuine problem solving almost impossible because healthy relationships require 2 people willing to admit their mistakes, not just one. 3. She gives you attention, then suddenly takes it away. One day, she makes you feel like the most important person in her life. The next day, she becomes distant and emotionally cold for no obvious reason. This constant emotional inconsistency leaves you anxious and confused. You start trying even harder, hoping she'll become the affectionate person she was before. Psychology suggests that inconsistent emotional reinforcement can actually make people become more attached to unhealthy relationships because they keep waiting for those good moments to return. 4. She dismisses your feelings. Whenever you try to express your sadness, frustration, or emotional pain, you hear things like, "You're too sensitive. You're overreacting. The problem is the way you think." Eventually, you begin questioning your own emotions. Some psychologists describe this as emotional invalidation, a pattern that makes someone feel as though their feelings are unimportant, unreasonable, or even wrong. 5. She wants to be the center of your entire life. It's perfectly normal for a woman to want to spend time with her partner. The problem begins when she becomes upset about anything that brings you happiness outside the relationship. She may dislike you spending time with your friends. She may resent your dedication to your career. She may become irritated by your hobbies or personal interests. It's as though your entire life is expected to revolve around her. Healthy relationships allow both partners to maintain their own identities because love does not require giving up who you are. 6. She uses silence or withdrawal to punish you. Instead of talking through problems, she suddenly disappears. She ignores your messages for hours or even days. She refuses to explain what's wrong. As a result, you find yourself apologizing, trying to fix things, and searching for mistakes you may not have even made. Psychologists note that repeatedly using the silent treatment as a form of punishment weakens emotional security and creates ongoing psychological stress within the relationship. 7. She makes you feel like you must constantly prove your love. No matter how much attention, effort, or sacrifice you offer, it never seems sufficient. She continually expects more proof, more reassurance, and more sacrifices, as though your love is never believable unless you constantly earn her approval. Research consistently shows that stable relationships are built on mutual trust, not on endless emotional tests. 8. You feel emotionally drained after every time you see her. Perhaps this is the clearest sign of all. Ask yourself one simple question. How do you usually feel after spending time with her? Do you feel peaceful, supported, and emotionally recharged? Or do you leave feeling exhausted, stressed, anxious, and emotionally depleted? Healthy relationships certainly include disagreements, but overall they leave people feeling safe, valued, and supported. If every interaction leaves you emotionally worn out, it may be a sign that the relationship is taking far more than it's giving. Why do some men stay in emotionally draining relationships? Psychological research suggests that emotional exhaustion rarely happens overnight. Instead, it develops gradually. A man slowly becomes accustomed to making more sacrifices, hoping things will improve. He convinces himself that it's only a temporary phase. He believes that if he just tries harder, loves more, or gives more, everything will eventually get better. But as time passes, he may lose much of his confidence and begin fearing the idea of leaving the relationship, even though it's causing him emotional harm.